Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporter, the St. Louis City SC podcast. Eric Cole here with the Monday Morning Sit-Back, Dave Wyckoff. And Dave, I don't know what the people are more interested to hear our opinions on this week, City's game, or wondering where the hell we've been for the past little while. But hopefully we can kind of answer both those questions as this show goes along. But before we get into all that, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Yeah, really good. I'm so glad that we are recording. It has been far too long, and for reasons that, go beyond what we're going to get into. But I think that what we have coming is going to be, it's going to deliver, content, and it might not be, as structured as it was, but I think everybody can relate to the difficulty with the work, life, play balance and the struggle that it is. And, I think at this point, a little bit of South End supporters is better than no South End supporters. I had a mentor that used to say a little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be any more relatable to right now. So I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, just happy to be back doing this. I think the best simple answer to where we've been is just life, being dads, being coaches, husbands, fans. We've been just busy, I think, is the easiest answer to this.
Tell the people, why don't you give the people an idea, something that's big that's happened in your life with your kids or whatever since we've been gone, or something that you're excited about, something that's been really fun for you since the last time we have recorded.
Yeah, a lot. My oldest daughter, Delaney, had her 7th birthday last week, so, plans for that.
Happy birthday last week, Delaney.
Thank you, yes. She was very excited with her Wicked-themed party. It was great to have it come because I don't know if your kids were like this, but Delaney has been very much like she looks at age the way you level up in a video game, to where she thinks she's just going to unlock new things every time she turns a certain age. So she'll always be like, whatever it is, like learning to tie her shoes or whatever. And she'll be like, yeah, I'll do that. Once I'm 7, I'll be able to do that. Like, she just thinks that with age comes unlocked abilities. So it's going to be excited now to kind of press her on all those things that she said she would do when she's 7. So, but also, man, the holiday season as well, like, all that exciting stuff and just trying to navigate holidays and then brother's birthday, niece's birthday.
Shout out Dave Cole. Shout out Scarlett Hecht. Shout out Stan Hecht.
So many things just going along, and then just obviously having, as well, a 2-year-old that's still in diapers, got new tattoos, so then had weeks of just trying to let those heal.
You
so
did.
If you see me pounding my chest tonight, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm just trying to figure out the last little itch of this final recovery of it. But
So people that follow you on the gram have seen them. Anybody that doesn't, did you put it on Facebook too, or is it just Instagram? I guess they probably cross post a little bit.
Yeah.
So give me, this is a question for me too. I'm glad we're talking about. So you got 2 editions, one brand new piece basically on its own, but then you also got an addition to your sleeve. Mm-hmm. That's part of your sleeve, but it's not kind of part of your sleeve. So first tell me about the Eagle and what that one is about and what that one means.
Just pure badassery. That's what that one means. No, I've fallen in love as I've gotten older with more like American traditional style tattoos, and one of the pinnacles when you think of that is just a traditional eagle. And so obviously I had the right side of my chest done with the Man U logo, which is now, I'm happy it's there as we're flying high here the past couple weeks. So, each week is dependent on whether I look up tattoo removal services, depending on how they're going. And then I'm just a guy of symmetry, so looking at that other side, as well as like my arm, it was more finishing out my other arm, the little gaps when you look at one arm that's fully covered, and then just the few holes. If you ever get a lot of tattoos, that's where your eyes always tend to go, and is the gaps. So, and then with my guy, he comes in once a year, so it's always just kind of a waiting game as far as that, as well as My chest was the worst one, so it was also a little bit of like, oh God, this is going through all that again. So I'm always looking forward to the next tattoo appointment. Sorry, Mom. She gives me that sad look every time I tell her I'm going to get a new one.
Oh man, my mom told us that we were out of the will if we got tattoos.
Oh.
And here comes the dog to make her debut.
There we go.
Excuse you, D.
So one of the things
ass.
we were going to say is we are going to, you may see some new guests as far as on the show as well this year, just pop in randomly. But yeah,
and you know what? She's wearing her city shirt too.
Oh yes,
That's even
I did
better.
see you guys
Can
got
see
that. Yes.
Can you see the city shirt?
Yes, you'll be able to
she's
see
wearing her
this
city
on
shirt
the
too.
YouTubes if we still remember how to upload those to there. But yeah,
She's
what
so
about
damn
you?
rude.
You've got
Get
some
outta here.
big news as well that has happened throughout our last episodes. New gigs and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and this one, it's wild because I'm back in the coaching world. And the funny part is your brother played a big role in it. And it's partially for the job that I hoped that he would have. And
Yeah.
I actually told him that he should apply for. But I have been I've been asked and joined Coach Turkington's staff for the Father McGivney High School girls soccer team. I'll be running the JV with Jason Turkington, who used to coach at O'Fallon and was a really, really good player in his time. Played at SIU, played some professional indoor, has some awesome stories. Like that's somebody we might need to get on the pod to talk about local soccer, because just the other day he was talking about spending time with like Terry Mickler and learning how to coach from him, and just very cool. But that has that has just happened like in the last month. So and jumping back into the coaching world, and never having been in the actual high school world before. I coached club with our buddy Ryan for like 10 years, and it's different. It's a different challenge, but I'm loving every minute of it. I can't wait to get to training every day after my real job, and just really, really excited. This team, this Father McGivney High School over here in Glen Carbon, we're returning some really good players and should have a really good program for a long time. And I've learned more about coaching in soccer from Coach Turk in the last 3 weeks than I probably have in the last 10 years, which has been very humbling, but also like really stoked about it. Just new ways of looking at things, and it's been really fun. So yeah, man. And shout out again, Dave Cole, because he was the one that threw my name out to Turk. And I appreciate that. So, but now the real funny part about that is Dave is a coach at the best high school in terms of girls soccer in Illinois, O'Fallon, the state champions, O'Fallon, and we'll play them at some point this year. So, so that'll be exciting. But yeah, man. So yeah, life comes at you fast.
Yeah. Shout out Turk. He was my high school coach through all 3 years at O'Fallon. My favorite coach that I've ever had. I've told you that before. When you first told me your daughter was going to be going there, and you asked about him, I was like, oh, he's my favorite coach that I've ever had throughout my career. Just very knowledgeable, like you said, but just personality-wise, he's just fun to be around. And he actually shot me a text after my brother kind of like mentioned you to him, and he just asked like, do I know him? And I was like, how do I know you and all this? And I was like, nothing but good things obviously to say about you, because you are a fantastic coach. I just, from playing with you and just hearing you talk and all that type of stuff. But I did warn him. I was like, just if you start implementing Chelsea tactics or anything like that, just switch things up and try and get things out of there. But yeah, super excited when you.
Well, he's a Liverpool fan.
I know.
So.
I remember I trained his daughter for a little bit. And I was like, do you follow a team? And she said, well, I guess Liverpool because my dad does. And I was like, if I'd have ever known that he was a Liverpool fan, we would have been way out of it. But
well, we'll let him off the hook. He'll be the only one. He's the only one that gets let off the hook.
He's the only one. Sorry, Sparkles. But yeah, so obviously a lot of big things changing and stuff like that. And so with that being said, episodes may be a little bit more infrequent, I guess we could say. Sporadic.
Yeah.
While we will do our best to try and get an episode out each week. As we said, just life sometimes comes up, and we'll try to always like put it out there if we, obviously we usually do with submissions, but if we can't make a week for whatever reason it may be, we'll try and give you guys, a heads up and let you know. Because I do want to say, with that, because even still, we were talking earlier about summer, maybe you'll open it up. And I'm even thinking like, I was telling our buddy Jake this at the game Saturday. I was like, I must be in full dad mode, because my first thought was, now I got to figure out when I'm going to cut the grass again, because it takes me so long to cut the grass. And so I got to try and organize, show prep plus cutting the grass. Like there's just, those fun dad responsibilities. But with all that being said, I want to give some shout outs before we get into this episode today, just since we are back and we are continuing it. Obviously, first off, our family and friends who, keep encouraging us to do this and support us and allowing us to do this, because you got to have a good system to allow us to continue to do this. Big one I also want to shout out is just everybody who has reached out to us, joking, been like, where you been, missing you guys. It really does mean a lot to me. I mean, so much so that our buddy Jay Clem even said he was willing to call off the Clemlands for a week just to allow us back in. He did say that. So, I mean, if that doesn't say anything, and shout out Jay Clem and his new show, Red Smoke Rising. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check them out as well. It's a great show. But just everybody who reached out to us, it was really like, I don't know, it meant a lot. Like
it means a lot.
I thought it was going to be we go away.
Our buddy,
don't care, but that meant a lot to me.
Our buddy EC, who hooked us up with the Kalachi sponsorship, asked me last week at the game. He goes, "What's going on with the pod? Are you guys done?" And I kind of didn't know what to tell him at that point. I decided we're trying to sort it out, because we want to do it. We want to keep it alive. And I also wanted to add, and if this wasn't clear, and you may have mentioned it before, DH is still here, by the way. Yeah. David Joel is still here.
He's actually celebrating his birthday right now. So happy birthday.
Shout out, happy birthday, DH. But he's still here. We started last year implementing the rule of two. So if there were 2 out of 3 of us that were available to pod, we would do it. And that's probably going to be even more evident this year, just because things haven't calmed down for any of the 3 of us. If anything, it's gotten worse. So he'll pop in, pop out. He is still here. Yes. Those who love DH.
Of anything, I think he maybe, especially last year, was experiencing the most of. I've got, he's coaching a whole new team now, and it's his team. It's not he's helping with the team. It's his team. He's taking on that much responsibilities. My niece and nephew, I mean, if there's a sport, they play it. They're constantly, busy in that type of stuff. So, I mean, even now for him to get this little trip, which I hope he's still even able to fully do, because I think he's on a cruise that may be touching in parts of Mexico. So who knows where all that's going to go. I think they talked about, we messaged him today just to make sure, because I think they left as far as California today. They spent 2 days in California. And I think he said they may have to adjust a little bit of stuff, but hopefully they still get to enjoy it, because it's a lot of like bouncing in and out of San Diego and that type of stuff as well. But yeah, he's definitely still huge part of the show. Really, it's going to be for all 3 of us. When we can make it, we'll make it, and we are going to do our best to make it as much as we can, because I think consistency is always the best. But
and there will be some potentially new faces, new voices that become regular or irregular parts of the presentation that you may or may not like or hate. Everybody will finally get to meet Jake, the infamous Jake, at some point.
I'm imagining have a delay on that one,
Nah, it's fine. We have to blur his face. That might be. Might not be a bad idea.
Do that? What TV show was it where they had a character on there, but they were like, "Yeah, but the only condition is we're gonna blur your face," and they just blurred his face, and he was so upset. He was like, "I finally am on TV, and you're blurring my face the whole time."
I don't remember.
Maybe we should also change like when they interrogate like former like gang members and stuff, but they blur their face.
Alter his voice. He's got to use the voice alter.
Yes.
This is good, and I thought this is what you were talking about, but his face was blurred. Do you remember a short-lived show that was on Adult Swim called Delocated?
No, I don't.
I know that we'll have people to listen to this pod that will know. So Delocated, I think the premise of it was that it was like a sitcom, but it was like surrounding this guy who was in the witness protection program. So everything was filmed normally, but he had like FBI protection and his voice was altered and he wore a ski mask all the time.
Oh yeah, nice.
And he just went about his life like normal. And maybe that's what we do. We make Jake wear a ski mask and have the voice modulate.
Yeah,
he would love that.
What's the Irish rap group where one of their guys wears a ski mask all the time and like
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah,
that's
they
awesome.
actually got in trouble for like holding up a certain flag at a show that was considered
whatever
at their
dump out of that.
Whatever there, but yeah, it was man, I can't think of their name, but they're famous. He wears it's an Irish flag ski mask, and he wears it at all times, like on stage.
It's not like the Dropkick Murphys or something like that.
No, it's not them. It's strictly like you either know them from the Irish like scene and that type of stuff, or maybe
we'll have.
With
I'm
your
sure
your
some
fandom,
people know.
you gotta have a Slipknot mask around there somewhere, and just
no, I do not have one. I do not have one Slipknot mask in this house.
Oh, well,
it's unreal.
Well, that's even better.
I'm going to scare the children.
We can make one for him, which will be even better.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So great. One last shout out I want to give is to our buddy Chris Gebhardt. He's, the man behind the scenes, but he does more for the St. Louis podcast scene more than anybody. And he reached out and really, kind of tried to give us some ideas, tips on ways we can make this a little bit easier. And he really goes above and beyond to try and help any sort of podcast around. So I want to give him a little bit of a shout out as well.
Yep, for sure.
Super cool dude.
Awesome dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. And so that'll answer the first part of this question to the intro. The next part is, what did we think of the game as City kicked off their season at home with their city opener, day game city opener as it is, where they took on Charlotte FC. And as far as the game goes, I would say I was pleasantly surprised as far as what I was expecting coming in. I think that was maybe the beauty of it, as I didn't know what to expect coming in. We saw a lot of departures, a lot of unknown signings come into the fold, a lot of really like high profile, I would say, signings that we brought in. I think it was a little bit of worry because you get rid of your leading goal scorer and there's not really a proven replacement that comes in. So I think that was a lot of people's questions going into the game. But before we get to the game, it just felt great being back at City Park and just having that opening day atmosphere. Did you like it being a day game better, or would you have preferred the opening home game that night where you get the light show and all that type of stuff?
Give me every day game.
Yeah.
As every game is a day game. I am so all in on day games. Like I get like the atmosphere and the 7:30 kickoff and the red lights, and that's all really great, the fireworks and everything, but dude, give me more day games. I'm begging for more. And I think there are only 2 or 3 left the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's
unfortunately
a lesser thing you kind of see within there.
Oh, it's just nuts. Like I get that everything is driven by television ratings, but I mean, God, give me more day games. And and in this case, for February 21st, it was cold. Mm-hmm. Let's not pull any punches. It was a cold game, and the wind was blowing, but I thought it was very tolerable.
I agree.
Considering what it could have been, considering that a couple weeks before we had a foot and a half of snow on the ground. Yeah. But no, I loved it. We didn't get there early enough to go and really interact with everybody, which, to be honest, for the first one, I was really more interested in the game than trying to go and see everybody. I know you and I never were able to connect, mostly because when I went to get up to come see you at halftime, I had double hamstring cramp of death and could not move. So that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you texted me that, and I was just like, I started laughing, and Kristen goes, "What?" And I was like,
if anybody, and no, it has nothing to do with age. My hamstrings, I've had bad issues with cramping my whole athletic life, and it doesn't matter how hydrated I am. I drank a half a gallon. I played basketball on Saturday morning for a couple hours, and I had a half a gallon of water and 2 or 3 Gatorades and a couple bananas, and it did not matter. It was just sitting in that position, and the lactic acid build up, and I guess I didn't cool down enough probably, but either way, I was not going to make it down the stairs to you. I barely was able to get out of, I was barely able to stretch the cramp out, and then I wasn't taking any chances. But the menu was the soul taco chicken burrito, which was perfect. It hits so good. It hits so good every time. It's hard to believe there's anything better in the park. Katie had the Olive and Oak burger, which is also just choice as choice could be.
Yeah, you.
So
I was going to get to this. Of course, we have to get to this on what your food intake was for the day. If you still, had the time to get up, we're gonna have to get you some like compression pants that you start wearing to like that people wear on flights and stuff to keep help with like the clots and the cramping.
I don't have circulation problems.
We'll get you going.
I just need to stretch.
Yeah.
My blood flow is fine. I just need to stretch after I do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what was funny? I forgot to mention this earlier, and I'm glad we brought this back up. You were talking about how Delaney sees things as like, okay, I'm 7 years old, I can do this now, or I'm gonna, when I'm 10, I'll be able to do this. What do you think is like the peak age where it's like you start going in the other direction, where it's like, okay, man, like
start losing
when I turn
attributes?
Yeah, when I'm not gonna be able to do this when I'm 30. I'm not, or this is. Yeah, here's what's gonna start happening to me when I turn 40.
What I think it is I almost think it's a person to person basis, because what I've found is as you get older and you hit a certain age, that's when everybody starts telling you, oh, that's when it was downhill for me. And what it was for me was 33. For some reason, when I turned 33, I'd pick up occasional knocks or injuries here and there, but I was also the type to where I could show up, do a couple arm circles and a couple, leg swings and that, and I was ready to go. And then I found I was waking up and just being like, man, I didn't do that much. And then I realized I've actually got to start warming up properly. I've got to start cooling down properly. I found that I remember when I would pop in for the adult 30s, and I didn't want to get the nervous piece before the game, so I wouldn't drink as much water leading up to it. And then realizing, yeah, you idiot, that's polar opposite of what I should have been doing. So I was pulling everything all the time. And it was oh, yeah, it's because I'm not hydrated. So I think what it is everybody's got that age. And maybe it's dependent on your playable character that you have in life, that it's just it's a lot of times when you play sports games, it'll just be out of nowhere. It'll be oh, you're considering retirement. And you're I'm 28. What do you mean I'm considering retirement? And they're yeah, it's just what you need to be doing. So
that's just your inner, your brain telling you that you need to quit.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Basically. Yeah.
So you went with the tried and true.
Yes.
One thing, I saw a submission earlier, and I can't wait to read it because it talks about that's where they were the most concerned with us. Was City announced that there were 4 new food options within City Park.
Yeah.
So I was kind of going to try and check one of those out. I had my eye, so I wanted to check out Biscuit Town.
Yes, that one looked the most appealing to me. Immediately appealing.
Just because of City's pictures is what sold it to me. And originally, I thought I was going to go with the sneaky biscuit, which was the biscuit, cream smoked Gouda, fluffy buttonwood, farmed eggs, and crispy bacon. My problem is I kept scrolling down on their option, and they have dessert options in there. And that's when, me, I was
that got you.
I was
yeah,
who
that
needs
got you.
to eat real food today? I'm already 4 beers deep. Yeah. Why would we concern health food at this point? So I actually went with their That's Bananas, an almond croissant style, twice baked biscuits, fluffy cut bananas, whipped cream, and caramel drizzle over the top.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I saw that and I was just yep, that's what I'm going with. And then Kristen, not tendy shaming here, but of course she went right back to chicken scratch because she was looking for her tendies. And so
chicken scratch is so good, dude.
So
it doesn't matter. And it's so good.
What I love is she's been there, quite a few times, but nowhere near a regular, I would say. And I guess somebody in line was debating on whether to get the chicken scratch sauce, and she's you're gonna want that. And it's just
yes. So that's good stuff.
She's even kind of helping direct people at this point. So yeah. Yeah, but it was.
Yeah, might have to make her an honorary South End slob after once you're offering food recos.
Yeah. Maybe we gotta also try and get back into talking about food consistently, because everybody is a big fan when that's all we talk about on this show, as some people have pointed out in the past. But yeah, we had also, obviously with the new coaching system in Johan de May, we had a new kind of formation kind of spread out in front of us as well, kind of going with they had it down as a 3-4-2-1. it kind of could have been adjustable as far as how you consider that midfield or whatever. But one thing that was for sure was the 3 center backing pairing. You have Baumgartel, Orozco, and Povera making his City debut as well. One of the signings that we brought in from Aberdeen. We got to see a lot of the new boys as well. The only one we didn't get to see was Mbaku Fall. Still working on that work visa and stuff like that. But I thought, just from things that stood out to me as far as the game goes, and one big other news thing that we got to point out is we've moved seats, or I have moved seats, five rows up. So if you're looking in that 149 row 2, I wasn't there. I'm 5 rows a little bit higher. We've dropped it down to the 2 seats with South End Stand, leaving us for the re-up. And so the only possible way to keep 2 seats, because you can't leave one alone, is you had to move. And stupidly enough, when I was talking with my ticket rep, I was like, this is going to sound real dumb, but I have a podcast called the South End Supporters. Are there any seats still within the South End that I could look at? And so once I saw 149, I was like, all right, that's my home. It was funny because we got to the stadium and we're standing up on the concourse, and I was just sitting there, and Kristen's like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, why are those people in our seats? And I was like, oh, those are their seats now. So that kind of hurt
sad,
a little bit. Yeah.
That's so sad. One
good thing about it, yeah, we're not as close, but actually a little higher up, you get a little bit of a better vantage point and you get to see the game a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And one thing I really liked with this system they had, and it seems like he may do, it's one game in, so we're not going to complicate things as far as trying to read what he plans on doing, but it just seemed like he put the players in what he thought was just going to be their best position. And where I think it really shined was with Vollum and Santos, the other signing that we have is the left back, because two things that we kind of highlighted, or one thing we highlighted with Vollum in the past, and then one thing that we noticed with when Santos was being brought in is leaves a little bit the desired in the defensive realm, but very good going forward. And I thought having them more as like the wing back position or out into touching into more of the midfield, while they still had defensive responsibilities, it felt like where a lot of our attack was coming from and where they looked their best was getting into the attacking third and getting the cross in. But what I think allowed them to do that so well, and what I thought really helped City throughout this day, is I don't know if this is something he's really trying to emphasize, because it was a big issue for City last year, was keeping our shape and making sure everybody moved as a unit. And I thought having Baumgartel's experience with 2 young guys on his center back really helped emphasize that, because every time that ball was cleared or anything was, pushed forward, there was almost a sprint to get out of our defensive zone. It meant that because when you have somebody like, Durkin, who's just a run guy and will cover that distance, what can end up happening sometimes is if he's so focused about running, it just leaves that big gap from the defense to the offense if the defense doesn't move with them. And especially if your 2 outside backs in Santos and Vollum are getting forward, that's even more of a gap that could be there. So one thing that it just really seemed to help City, and he really wanted to emphasize being better in possession this year, and we heard other players kind of mention that preseason as well, is they just moved as a unit and held their shape really well. But I just really felt like that started from the back line and maybe that experience with Baumgartel with the 2 young guys on them. And I just thought that was a big help in that. And then also one thing, Orozco, I thought, he had Zaha in his back pocket all game. And, as somebody, honestly, who was really, excited to see, former English Premier League player, I always knew that he was very easy to kind of get in his head a little bit if you play him physical, and he's going to go down and look for that a lot. It just seemed like the boys had that game plan. They were going to play him physical. They were going to get on him. No stupid fouls. I want to give Durkin credit a lot, because there were a lot of times where in the past he would have picked up one of those just silly Durkin fouls, and he controlled himself very well throughout the game. I just thought that was what got City the result and made them look so good, was the playing the players in their best position, but mainly just holding their shape and just moving as a unit both forward and backwards. But you had a really great vantage point up in 204. What did you kind of notice throughout the day?
Yeah, I'm really glad you touched on the shape, because that was the strength for the first 60 minutes of the game. And if you don't already have the FOT Mob app and you're a soccer fan, you should have it. So go out and download it. But there's this really great feature there where they kind of show momentum per team based on like possession, and there's a big time delineation from the time that City scored basically the first goal, and then until Charlotte scored their goal, where the shape really got lost.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot to do with them being a little bit leggy, and maybe being a little mentally fatigued. But then once they picked it back up, they were able to control the game. It just, this team, and it's funny, you know, I think I know how lifelong hockey fans, I think I finally know how they feel when they're at a game and they hear these upper bowl Hoosiers yelling, shoot, shoot. I've got people around me in 204 that, I get it. You want to see offense. You want to see goals. You don't want to see this team play wide open with a team like Charlotte. That is exactly the game that they needed to play. They should have brought home all 3 points.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Make no mistake. Like, if they have a little more patience and a little more clinicalness around the goal, that's a 3-1 or a 4-1 game.
Yep.
Easily. Mm-hmm. But if for those of you who don't know what soccer should look like, soccer in the modern game looks like, Saturday was what it should look like. It was possession with intent. It was a team with a good commitment to good shape, offensively and defensively, that plays the ball the way that they're facing and takes appropriate chances in the offensive third to where it won't burn them, instead of taking chances in the defensive third and the middle third where there's a chance for Charlotte to attack. Mm-hmm. Let me run through the players real quick because I just have like real quick things to say about most of the starters. So Roman Berkey comes up with a big save as usual, a timely save in the second half when it looked like the game might slip away. But his usual solid self isn't relied on as much to distribute in this style, if you noticed.
Yep.
A lot of this, there's not a lot of trail back to Berkey and let him go long, at least in this game. Let's hope we see more of that because you don't want your goalie being the one you rely on to distribute to the forwards. Jazzy Orozco, just an absolute beast. Just you couldn't have said it. I could have said it better than you. He put Zaha in his pocket. Zaha was frustrated. He was petulant. He did end up with an assist, but again, I think that was more. I think that had more to do with the shape breaking down at the wrong time.
It seemed like a miscommunication on that one.
Yeah,
Edelman was on him, and then he pulls away, and then that man is left with the space. So
but I never found him to be dangerous. He wasn't really even the most dangerous player on the field for them.
No,
in my opinion. So
he was definitely
Timo.
on the field. I'll say that much. He spent a lot of time.
He did spend a lot of time on the field. I thought Timo had a good game when he decided he wanted to be physical. When he starts to drop off and play more of a sweeper, and he plays that timid method, that's when he gets in trouble. But I thought he had a really good physical game. I thought he was great in the air, especially winning those first balls. Polvera, super impressed by him and his physicality and his decisiveness in defense. Like the acceptance of, if I don't win this ball, it's okay to foul somebody. I really liked that. I really liked how aggressive he was. Santos, Thought Mob has him having a decent game. I'll tell you, I thought it was okay. And then he should have gone out at 60 minutes with the first sub when Sangbin came up, because he was gassed for the rest of the game, and it almost cost him. Mm-hmm. But I liked what he brought to that formation. Now, whether or not he's a sticking point, there are some guys that can play that spot too that have pace that you could possibly see. So depth is a good thing. Durkin, I thought, was a dog, a little out of control at times. Still not super clinical around that. Not the most clinical of passers or shooters, but I think he's going to be the third midfielder in this formation when Leuven's healthy.
Yeah.
That guy that can come in and provide that physicality, but I thought he was fine. I thought Daniel Edmond was the best player on the field. Saturday. I thought he was. I thought he was excellent in defense. I thought he was excellent in distribution. His progressive carries were something that I, quite honestly, did not know he was capable of. I thought he was a strict 6 who was going to sit in front of the backs and kind of play like the sweeping midfielder role, to just where you just, the old N'Golo Kante, where it's just like you just gobble everything up. Mm-hmm. No, he was an active participant. He was as active a participant as possible.
Real quick
Conrad
on him,
was
what I noticed with
Conrad
him is just on him real quick is, while he wasn't just your typical, but he was very aware of when he needed to just be a 6 and get rid of the ball and get it out wide and not hold on to it too long to put us in that, where we've noticed a lot of times that and then also I think of all the people who held the shape the most was him, because where sometimes we do get lost is if Durkin is that workhorse and doing everything, we can really be exposed in the center of the park if the other mid does it as well. So that's where I think it shows his.
He did. I would love to see, and maybe this is something that they can work on or with when they play teams that are a little more offensive minded. But I would love to see him as part of a 3-man midfield and let him play the 6 with 2 more offensive midfielders, maybe Leuven and Hartle in front of him, and let him just hold that space, because I thought he was outstanding. In attack, one huge thing that was missing last year, especially in attack, was a midfielder with the drive to find those gaps between the other team's midfield when we were in possession. If you remember last year, how many times it just felt like that back four were just rocking the ball back and forth for just days at a time. And whoever it was, whether it was Leuven and Durkin, whether it was Morales and Durkin, whoever, just seemed too content to just sit there and occupy space. Edelman was checking in and out, and when he did receive the ball, like you said, he was decisive with it, and he kept the ball out of danger for the most part. So, great game by him. I thought Conrad played like a man possessed. He went after Zaha every chance he got, especially the first half. I love to see that. I think that he and Orozco just did an absolute mind job on Zaha. Sangbin, I didn't see a ton of. I mean, he runs a lot, but I thought that they were more effective in attack when he left, and that kind of shows, that they scored a goal and they had a lot more chances when he was subbed out for McScorley, who I thought looked like a freight train.
Almost got a couple.
The kid just, he did. He'll get him. He'll get there. Like I think that's, especially the breakaway. That's one that you kind of like. Okay, when he's this is the year that he's going to he'll start putting those away. Like, I'm fully confident. That was a good save. But I just think he kind of, bright lights, first game winner. He'll get there. Marcel was magnificent on the ball, off the ball, great finish. Looked free. Look at he playing with a lot of freedom in this system.
Man of the match, team of the match day bench. So well deserved.
Yeah. And Betch, that might be the best game Betch has played as a professional. Just gritty, determined, but also the ball that he played to Marcel for that goal was just unreal. Like chef's kiss. Yeah. Just chef's kiss. And he played another couple just beautiful. Like he looked like he couldn't wait to get back on the field. So, yeah, that's my take for the guys. Again, great effort. Deserved the 3 points, probably kicking themselves they didn't get the 3, because they definitely had the opportunities to do it. But one game, 1 point, not much else to say other than that. You've got a lot of guys that you expect to be major contributors to this team that didn't even play. Leuven and the 2 falls, and Celio didn't even get a look.
Couple things I want to point out. Where I think Sangbin is going to be most effective is when someone like Leuven is back and can look for those just runs. I think where we were missing was Durkin. While he's a workhorse and an absolute warrior in there, you don't look for him as far as the creative distribution. And I think that's where, like you said, he falls back a little bit in the depth chart. Leuven, obviously, he came out and basically said, if you don't see me on the injured chart, you kind of know what the reason is. Obviously, he's still dealing with everything with his wife, and we hope everything's okay. So he's kind of up in the air as far as when he'll be back. But I think that's where a lot of these other guys will really shine, is when you have that distribution. And I think Sangbin is definitely one of those guys. As far as the forwards go, I know that's been a hot topic as far as going into this year with Jao Klaus leaving and feeling we need a true nine. What I think, if we are planning on this year, and I know there's red smoke and they're talking about this Venezuelan striker, and we won't really talk about it until it's confirmed, because who knows what it could be, but all signs seem to be pointing to that. And even then, everything I've read on him is he's been a depth chart kind of guy. What I think is most important, and we saw it there, especially towards the end of the game, you talk about McSorley. Bet sure he'll get there if he can catch fire. But for me especially is Teutschert. We got to get those guys feeling it again, because Teutschert had a couple good looks, especially that one where he hit it right at the keeper. He puts that either side of the goal, and there's a game winner. I think we need to, we talked about this a lot with like Klaus in the past years. We need to get these guys hot. And I think if we can hold this shape and stay strong defensively, like you said, we didn't even get to see the two falls. You have Leuven in there throwing that distribution. You have Edelman playing that position, and then keeping Hartle playing free. There were chances created. Like you said, it should have been 3-4-1. You chalk it up to early season vibes and just kind of get, like you were saying with McSorley, get things going and getting that touch and getting that feel and that comfort as the season's going. I think that's what's going to be most important going forward. I can't see this team necessarily being one that runs it up 4-0 like we saw year one, but I do see this team being in games and getting these wins where it's 2-0, 2-1, where, we just need to get a couple, and then, but one thing I do want to give also credit to is City Park, and I hope it stays this way no matter how the season goes, felt alive again. It felt like they were really, feeding off a lot of the energy, and especially towards that end, like you said, where things kind of lulled and then we started to climb back in a little bit, kind of really picked up again. And we really need that. If, it sounds silly, but having the home support help carry you and finish out these games and finish strong is really important. One thing you also touched on that were you surprised kind of by the late substitutions? Were you surprised not seeing Celio? It seems like he had a decent preseason. Like, were there any, like, as far as just timing or even who was chosen as far as the substitutions, were you surprised in there at all? I felt I was, I know it's early and we're trying to, still get the points as much as we can, but I just felt like, man, we're at home, and maybe it's just I've been watching Carrick too much lately, where he just is like up 2-1 and still throws a striker on. Like, I just was like, hey, we've been, struggling. Let's just go out and live by our sword or die by a sword. But the way I felt throughout the game, I just never felt like Charlotte was really pressing us too much. Like, watching highlights, there was like maybe one or two on Charlotte, and the majority was us. I felt like, bringing on a crowd favorite like Celio, who's going to be dangerous, or Teutschert maybe a little bit earlier, where you get that like sense of like, all right, we're going for it. Did you feel that way, or did you like the substitutions and just kind of like how the game went?
So, me, I hate a late substitution. I wish they'd have been earlier. Like I said, you could tell that Santos needed to come off at about 65, and he didn't come off until stoppage time. That's kind of a big miss for me, and I don't know what the point of that was. And Totland is the one that substituted in for him, which was a unique choice, and that Totland's a right-footed player, and he put him on the left, but that's more, they put him in there because he could drop into a back four, I guess. But it was a little curious that they waited as long as they did to sub out somebody like a Durkin, and then basically went like for like with Miggy Perez, which awesome to see Miggy. It was awesome to see Miggy in the first team.
Yeah.
And then
that
the same thing.
Confidence to me, I don't know.
Yeah, the same thing. You took Paul Vara out and you put in McNaughton to make his debut, which he was a little bit of an adventure on that left side, but he also played with a little bit of flair. And then they almost nicked it at the end. I mean, you brought in Chuchu, and he got a couple of good chances, and I don't want to see subs after 80 minutes that are not like tactical. You know what I mean? I don't want to see subs that are that late not to break up. Like I just don't. I guess they thought that they were creating enough chances after Charlotte scored to be able to leave those guys on a little bit later. But I would just I'm very much like, okay, if things aren't working in the second half, you make your first 2 or 3 subs at 60. To me, you gotta give these guys time to grow into the game.
Yeah,
I've always thought that. I don't like a substitution where somebody's only going to play 10 minutes. If they weren't fit enough to play 30, then they shouldn't play 10. To me, unless it's one of those things where you want to throw on like a fourth center back or something like that to defend against set pieces at the end of the game. Which none of those substitutions were that. So I want to see him a little bit earlier. I want to see him be a little bit more aggressive, and especially at home. Go get those 3 points. It's different if you're on the road.
Exactly.
If that's a road point for City for the first game of the season, absolutely dig that draw out with some more defensive subs. But no, man, go get those 3 points. And they should have, to be fair. It didn't have anything to do with the tactics, really, because they should have taken the 3 without the subs. But
no,
it is what it is. It's his first real. I mean, Demay's going to have to feel his way through. When wants to make his subs, and it was the first game, and it was cold, and hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. To your point, I'm right there with you on I don't like those late subs, but especially if those are your attacking subs, because I don't want my attackers 2 touches trying on shots on goal. I want them getting a feel of the game, and then those shots are while they're in the flow. Last thing I want to kind of bring up as far as the game before we move on to submissions for the night. And this is just I'm curious on your opinion. Do you think, just as far as the fan base goes, I mean, obviously a win is what you want, but do you think a tie with a performance was the best possible outcome as far as managing the fans' expectations for this year's going forward? Say we did win 4-1. And then you go into San Diego, a tough atmosphere, and then who knows how it shakes out. But my point is I felt like the past 2 years, the fans have gotten too still hanging on to year one and the way this team should be. We've had a lot of changes. We've had a new coach. We have a lot of new players. We have a new system. There's a lot of new to this. So do you think putting out an exciting product at home, getting the fans excited with what they saw, even though it wasn't a win, do you think this is still maybe as far as just keeping the fans excited but also tempering expectations could be the best thing? Or do you think, sod that, I know it should have been a win, but the only thing that's going to keep these fans satisfied is win at all times?
It depends on which demo you're talking about. If you're talking about like the casual, then it had to be a win. I mean, I've already had 3 conversations about how they still need a goal scorer, and it's like, that's what you took out of that whole game, that whole performance at 90 minutes, was that they need a goal scorer. Like, yeah, valid point, but did you not watch the rest of the game and how they had 11 shots on goal and how they were dominant in possession for 60, 70 of the 90 minutes? So anybody we talk about the box score brigade, right? If you want to satisfy the box score brigade, yeah, it's got to be a win. That's the only thing that matters. I will say that, I think that the people that we are around, I think the people that we spend a lot of time talking about the game with are very bullish now on this team, and they might not have been at the beginning. And, I don't know if anything other than a win would have satisfied the naysayers. I mean, I guess we should ask Jake, because he's, the biggest
brother.
Self-hating fan. Or yeah, your brother, the 2 biggest like self-team hating fans that are out there. We should ask them, because me, I'm gonna be the eternal optimist. Like, oh yeah, it's top of the West. Going for a supporter shield. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at this one is it's first game. Let's start to judge a team, week 15. And you have a true idea. Everybody's in their mid-season form. We see what even roster we have come mid-season and all that type of stuff. Like, let's just take it a game at a time is where everybody should be this season. But no matter what, you're behind the team.
You know what I was thinking about? Okay, this is perfect. Take this game and how you felt about this game, and compare it to how you felt about Melberg's first game last year and the 0-0 draw.
Yes.
Which one do you feel better about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what's nice is as we grow this history a little bit more is like you yeah, you can have, those kind of performances, but you still have at least we're out of that Melberg era. Like at least it's not we've seen kind of the way how bad this team can be. So yeah, I think it's just all trying to look up from here is kind of deal.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'll follow up my own question. I can remember the feeling last year when was it Seattle? Was it the Seattle the first game last year?
Oh man.
Either way, I didn't feel good about it.
Boring.
It was boring, and it was like, oh yeah, well they really shut them down, and there were really no chances. But it was like, yeah, but there was nothing encouraging going the other way. But it was like, well, they had to fix the defense first.
There was nothing.
Like, okay.
Yeah, there was nothing we took out of that game that we were like, oh, if we just
well,
keep
other than where this team's going to have to grind out results.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, if this is the style that they're playing, and they can control games like that, and be in every game and control and play a free flowing style like that, I'm way more bullish than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
So 1 game, 1 point. It's a long season, but
exactly, it is a long season, and that season will continue. I believe it's next Sunday. We're going to be a Sunday night late game. I think it's like 8:30.
To go play the team that won 5-0
out in San Diego.
The first game,
the High Flyers. But if we're going to stay on the optimist train, if I'm looking at it, where San Diego really, really just breaks teams down, at least last year especially, was on that counterattack and having Dryers out there. One thing that we really were exposed to a lot was a counter, but that was because we lost our shape. We maintain our shape, and we have enough defensive backs back there and just, able to kind of at least allow our team to catch up when we both go forward and back. Who knows? It's a different year. Every year is different, so we're going to keep the optimism going. And as we keep the optimism going, we will get to our favorite part of this show, and that will be your guys' South End submissions. As we say, we really appreciate you guys sticking with us for the show, and this is our favorite part because we love getting you guys involved in the show as much as we can. What we're going to try and do is, just because we're already about 50 minutes into this, we're going to try and kind of connect a lot of these that are kind of similar in style. A lot of them we really appreciate. They are just, welcoming us back. Kicking it off with my mom, Mama Marie. She said, yeah, can't wait to listen again. I've missed you guys. Joe Radwanski said, woo, glad you guys are back. Thought we were going to have to suffer through those hideous gold kits with no outlet besides screaming into the void. I feel better now. Thanks. Looking forward to a positive season. That guy, Zach Gorski's back, but he just left it at, I was starting to worry that you all became softball coaches. Knowing you guys are back is better than signing a DP number 9. Welcome back for another season, fellas. We're glad.
Thank you, Gorski.
That was awesome. With us as well. Dave Thompson said, we looked better overall, but we still had some hiccups in the back and lacked ideas and killer instinct and finishing in the final third. We waited too long to sub, and we have too many defensive midfielders out there. We should have won that game. Looking forward to see how the coach adjusts. I think with a lot of that, I agree with you on the took too long to subs. As far as defensive hiccups, I look at it as we've improved on a lot of the defensive hiccups that we've had in the past. Losing the ball in the middle of the field, I think we touched on Edelman did a lot better with that and just being smarter with getting rid of it. And kind of shutting everything down. I thought defensively we were quiet. And then, finishing in the final third is obviously, when you have that many shots on goal and you don't only come away with one, finishing in the final, especially there towards the end, we highlighted a couple of those things. But what I did like a lot is when it did come to crossing, there wasn't that where we experienced a lot in the final third where we got it down there, hesitated, thought about it too much, allowed their defense to get back, and then missed the opportunity. They were quick, especially through Wallum, quick crosses into the box, and we, just didn't get it on target. So glad we were able to at least show a little bit of improvement in there. Andy Sharoni says, Pie Guy is gone. I'm sad now. Album cover jerseys, I think my heart skipped a beat. Yeah, Pie Guy's gone. I didn't know that. Was that one of the ones that dropped? I think another thing
Pie Guy dropped out during the season last year.
Oh, that's right. I do think they need to, while they show who's in, they almost need to like a promotion relegation. Like they need to show who got in, but they also need to give us a heads up on who went out, so we don't go looking for it throughout.
They got replaced by Motor City Pizza, which is Detroit style.
It
And
looked
I
pretty
tried to
good.
talk.
Pictures.
I tried to talk Dex into getting it, and he said that he would try it next game we went to. So next home game, we're going to try the Motor City Pizza. So to be continued. It smelled fantastic, and it looked great. I love Detroit style pizza also.
Do you? Pictures look good.
Yeah.
I haven't had Detroit style, but the pictures look solid.
Yeah.
It's going to be definitely a checkout place that I hit this year. Our good friend Patty Brinson came in and said, "Glad you're back. Went to the game Saturday. Sure glad it was an afternoon game because it was cold, but those shadows make it hard to watch at times. Also, I love the gold jerseys and the Tina Turner theme. So many complainers on Facebook." Yeah, it was definitely a difference. Like when we were out in the plaza game time in the sun, and then you got in that shade, it definitely dropped down. But one big kind of tying into a lot of those is the Tina Turner kit was debuted rather than the home kit. So our new away kit is this gold Tina Turner kit. Definitely, but I think anymore you just can't look online because they're going to find something wrong with anything these days. But what is your thoughts on the Tina Turner kit?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, might as well just piss everybody. Might as well just piss everybody off in the first episode. I don't like them.
Okay. Well,
I don't like them.
So I think this is.
Go ahead.
I think this is going to be a jersey that needs to grow on you. I don't really like the dress sash. I would have loved it if that was.
Hate it.
It just doesn't. You just kind of keep like if you don't know the theme, if you're an away fan watching it, you're just kind of constantly going, "What's on their shirt?" Oh, it's meant to be.
Is it dirty?
Yeah.
Is it dirty?
I love the gold and black color scheme, and I love the little red accent pieces on it. What I would have loved is a gold jersey, black shorts, and then the gold socks. I think unless it's an all-white or an all-black kit, I usually like a little contrast with the shorts in the jersey. But to me, it's just the sash or the dress part. It just kind of it's going to be either something I need to grow on me, or to where I'm just used to seeing a lot more and it makes sense. Same with the like waves in the first one. Like I said, my jersey personally, since they were all customizable, all the like lines ran into one, so there was one big dark spot on my shirt, and I would always be like, "Oh, there's something on my shirt. Oh no, that's just how it is." And I feel like this is going to be one of those as well, where it's like, "Oh no, there's some. Oh no, that's just the sash deal." So
yeah, I appreciate the attempted connection to Tina Turner, but no, this is a major miss for me. A major miss.
One
and
thing,
I'm just going to leave it at that.
If we learned anything about last year, is if you need time to think on it, you wait long enough, they're gonna get discounted pretty heavily. So if you are in between on it, you just wait it out a little while.
I won't be buying that one this year. Yeah, maybe in 3.
There you go.
And listen, maybe it's a me thing. Like my favorite kit that they've had so far is the gray with the pinstripes, and I hate that they've already gone away with it. I thought that was the perfect away kit. I loved the Confluence kit, but yeah, this is a miss for me.
I think the only thing that
apologies.
I think the only thing people were down on with the gray kit was the V-neck. I think that was the only part that people just weren't as big of a fan of.
Oh, it was so nice. It's my favorite kit to wear. It's still too. It's so great.
It is a super clean kit. Yeah. Next, our buddy Tommy Beck says, "First, as far as the game goes, I was pleasantly surprised with the effort Saturday and could watch a whole season of that win, lose, or draw. Second, with Sargent electing to go to Toronto and now seeing Griezmann in talks with Orlando, is it safe to assume that City will never land a big-name player and instead just focus on homegrown talent, a Milwaukee Brewers type approach? Welcome back." So, yeah, if you didn't see, because City had the discovery rights for Josh Sargent, obviously being from here, Dave has been trying to get the Josh Sargent GoFundMe account going for a little while, and unfortunately you came up a little short of the $20 million, and I think that was the ultimate deterrent. But it seemed like from reports I read, he always just wanted to go to Toronto. Like, we were never on his radar. But from what I saw, there was like some unique thing with St. Louis coming in as a new team and doing that discovery rights. We not only got like $500,000, we also got an additional $200,000 on top of it for his discovery rights. In some other term, I forget what it is. I'd have to look it up. But so at least we're getting a good chunk of change for him going to Toronto. I don't think that was ever really a thing. And then it's seems to be a high rumor that Antoine Griezmann is going to be going to Orlando City. the thing with those high talent things is it's going to be a big hit or miss because of the age. You look at like Griezmann, he's 34, and if he's a playable character like me, after 33, it was all downhill from there. So obviously he's a World Cup winner. He's got all the talent in the world. He's going to shine at Orlando FC. I would love to know on the insides, what is it that is not the big name? Is it the club's decision to be a homegrown type deal where they look for more of these little pieces that they just truly feel fit their system no matter what the name is, and they feel they could keep it on the cheap and keep their pay rate low and just focus on that type of stuff? Is it they're trying for these big names and St. Louis is just a tough sell for them to come here, and that's what's the big deterrent for them? I would just love to know what direction it is. Obviously we'll never know that, but I'm just curious on that. But do you think that, like as he said, we are just going to be that club that always kind of banks on the homegrown talent and focuses that way?
I mean, until the league becomes actually a major league with major revenues and major profitability for every team, then yeah, you're probably going to continue to see this treated like a business. And in a business, you buy players young when their value is low, and you hope you can develop them. And then when they get to a point where you can sell them at high value, you sell them off, and then you start all over again. Everyone would do better to think about this team right now more like League One or League Two teams in England, to where that's what they have to do. They have academies. They build these players up. The bigger teams come in. They buy them when they're young. They buy their contracts when they're young. And that money gets reinvested back into the development of a new group of players. And with the idea that you're going to be able to hold on to some of them for a little bit of their time until you build up a sustainable program, a sustainable franchise that can sign players that are more talented and can keep them around. But for now, the discrepancy in willingness to spend in the MLS is starting to kind of mirror the Premier League, to where there are 6 or 7 teams that can go and overpay for better players, more high-profile players, and then you have the rest of the league. Mm-hmm. So this is what it is for right now, until or if the MLS ever does get a major network television or separate streaming platform where all the teams are making, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars on the TV contracts, on the broadcasting rights, then they can reinvest that into the team. But for now, yes, it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. Next, everybody, Steven Pena said, what are your thoughts on Celio not playing? Feels like he's getting ready to be shipped out. I think what'll maybe make me think that more is if we're in like game 5 and he hasn't featured. I think it's still early on, and like we said, there wasn't 100% that we agreed on the substitutions anyway, whether late or just the chosen who came in and that type of stuff. It's game 1. He featured a lot, it seemed like, for us in the preseason. I know that doesn't really mean anything. I just feel like we'd be hearing a little bit of something. Sam, I relate it to Sam. Like Sam, we kind of we're hearing things for a couple weeks before eventually things kind of went that way. So, he's also, we just, was it last year or the year before, re-signed. So, I mean, I think they have longer-term plans for Celio. I don't know if just Johan saw something where he just didn't see a fit for him coming into that game or something to that effect. But I think we all were kind of wondering where Celio was kind of in that game, and so I will more judge that, I guess, in a couple games if we don't see some sort of feature out.
He might be formation dependent too. I mean, Celio is not a very effective two-way player. Like if you're playing a 4-3-3 and he can play that left side up top, yeah, absolutely. He's going to be somebody that you want to run at that right back and try to get to the end line and cut ball back for crosses and then try to cut to his right foot. In a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2, which I guess it was more of a 3-4-2-1 is what they were running, or at least that's what Fatma. He would have been asked to he would conceivably played on the left side where Santos played. He would have been asked to play a lot of defense and support like Santos did, and that's not his game. Santos is much more of a two-way player than Celio. So, I mean, maybe it's formation dependent. Maybe he just hasn't committed to the defensive side of the game enough for DeMay.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. As far as that game and the way they had it, because I'm looking at FOTMob as well, and the way they had it wrote up, and I think he would have had to go in and replace Hartle. And Hartle was our man of match and the best player on the field throughout the day, kind of deal. So I think what you might see is a little bit of interchanging with him and Sangbin. It seems like that's where you might get the rotation kind of coming through. And that time, I mean, we're still trying to. I think it's going to take a couple games to figure out also who's our best starting 11 going forward. If Torture gets formed, does he then replace Betcher, or Celio replace Sangbin? Does Marcel move more to central? I think it's going to be a couple games to where we try and see. And like you said, if the emphasis is on structure, defense, getting back with the play, maybe that was just the thing that he saw in the game. So I think time will tell as far as how Johan maybe views Celio.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go to our man, Eric O'Donnell. He said, the band is back. Did the game seem slow to you? It seemed like the last 7 minutes we got aggravated, and then his text got cut off. What I think he meant is just like aggravated and that type of stuff. What I would say to that is I think the game seems slower because we just have never been a possession team, and we held possession throughout the game. And I think we've unfortunately experienced either kickball long, we go for, that's fast, or the other team's coming back at us, and that's fast. And that's what we've experienced maybe a little bit more over the past couple of years. It's just a lot of we try to catch them in transition, and so maybe with a possession style game, because I felt like this game was really just a battle within the midfield more so than anything. Maybe that's why the game seemed slower than maybe what we're used to, but I don't know if I would necessarily say the game seemed slow. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I don't think it was slow. I think it was controlled. I think that's what it was. I think it was controlled, and it was a measured effort to attack when attack made sense and to, be versatile and be efficient in possession. And I thought it was exciting. And I think that's what a lot of these, and fun. I think that's what a lot of these submissions reflect. I mean, obviously we haven't gotten into the Reddit end of it, but a lot of these a lot of the people that responded, the number one thing they said that it was a fun game to watch.
Yeah. And so, and kind of like Tommy Beck said, win, lose, draw, if we can have fun and be exciting, let's have an exciting team either way.
Let's have an exciting team, exactly.
Alan Anani said, thoughts on the new kit. You think Pompeo should have started or been subbed in? Overall, I like what we're seeing, a lot of hustle, and it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I introduced some guys to City SC this weekend and took them to an indoor ambush game where they were going crazy with that 13-0 win the ambush had. Do you all attend any ambush games, or thoughts on the Mysol League? Yeah, I did see that the ambush thumped. I didn't see who it was, but 13-0, just an absolute beating. But shout out to you for introducing people to City. I think I love when I hear people
awesome.
doing that. So good on you. We kind of talked about Celio and the kit in there, but as far as the ambush goes, our biggest issue, or at least for me personally, and I think it's just once they moved out to St. Charles, it was always going to be tough for us to be an Illinois side guys. That's just a long haul to kind of keep up. And it's also I got to do better, I guess, as far as just remembering when they play, their schedule and stuff like that. Because if I have known, I've had it on on my phone or something like that, and tried to watch at least some of the games. But I think it's always an exciting game. I think any sort of football is exciting to me. Definitely, I know with you, because throughout the off season, one thing as well you got into is all sorts of different leagues throughout the world. You were always cracking me up with you'd be like, you guys should have seen this goal from the Venezuelan third division. And it's like, what are you doing, man? But so to me, it's always exciting, especially somebody who's played indoor the past, both competitively and just for fun. It's always cool just to watch the way the higher level looks at indoor and what they look for and how that game is played. And plus at the professional level, when you get into 30-second shifts and you're in and out and you're the way it's kind of meant to play and that type of stuff, it's exciting. So yeah, ambush is super cool, and the whole league. Just wish it was still a little closer, still downtown.
Yeah, they're fun, and they're fun for kids too. That's
Great.
if you want to get a kid excited about soccer, yeah, take him to an ambush game.
Yeah. I think you can almost relate to like a City 2 where the emphasis almost is more of the kids and the atmosphere and that type of stuff. A couple more on my end. We got Brendan Stanfield saying, how can STL City effectively score more with the chances created? 11 shots on goal and 1 goal. I think.
Well, you don't shoot the ball at the goalie. That's a good start.
Number one, corners. Just try any corner and that type of stuff.
Any corner. There's two of them.
Any corner.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 if you're really feeling it. You go.
That's true. Postage stamp that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Postage stamp it.
I think it's just going to be getting back into form, getting things rolling, getting these guys comfortable again in a competitive environment, not preseason, not knowing your minutes are going to be scampered. Like we said, a lot of those scorers came off the bench with a couple minutes to play, and so you're trying to ask them in tight situations to get shots on goal. I think if we can continue to play like that and create that many chances, the goals will come as the season goes along. We just hope this isn't one of those situations where this continues to happen throughout the season and we're thinking, God, the amount of chances they squandered. So I think the goals will be there. It's just going to get these guys back into running form and all that.
Yeah, I think I think the set pieces were very poor also. Like, I don't know how many corners there were.
Yeah.
And
way
I know
more for us.
Well, the closest set piece was the one that Santos hit that struck the bar, which I'm pretty sure took a big deflection.
It took a hit off the wall. Yeah, it was right in front of us, and you could see it visually getting a flick off the wall.
Yeah, so I think, being more impactful when you have that much possession and you create that many set pieces. I'm remiss I can't think of a good chance that came off a corner. Whether or not there was an actual real head ball, it seems like they're still committed to that Hartle floated ball, which I hate with the fire of 1,000 suns. But yeah, it'll come. It'll take time. The shape is the most important thing right now. The shape and the control are the most important thing to me to continue to see. And if they can do the same thing against San Diego and keep that game within arm's reach, and maybe nick a point out there, then we can really start talking about, okay, now what's the next step in the progression of the team?
Chris Shudo says, thank goodness new food at Energizer Park was announced and there was crickets for the SES gang. Was worried there was another high-profile kidnapping. No. I would have been worried, too, if all that was released and you didn't hear anything from us of all the people around didn't touch on it. So, yeah, we can rest assured that, the bail or the ransom was paid. We were released back to our families, and now we can.
It wasn't much.
The food, no.
It was roller grills. It was weird. It paid him in roller grills.
Yeah, it was weird. I think they just thought we talked about him so much that that's what is a high profile demand in currency, and so luckily
the currency.
Luckily we got out on that. St. Louis City SC fan said, glad to have you back. Drop points again in Saturday. How many points do you think we'll have to have after our first 4 games? MLS didn't do us any favors with our early scheduling, but hope we can get more than 1 out of 12. I think we'll get more than 1 out of 12. Let's kind of break down who all cities got going forward. I know San Diego is obviously going to be tough, especially on the road. So that one, it's going to be tough to kind of
and then Seattle on the road, too, or Seattle at home?
Seattle is at home, so you got that in your favor. Seattle's kind of, it seems like the past couple of years has either been really good or off that day, and especially when they come here, it just seems like they always have us. And then, man, LAFC on the road. So tough start to the season, to be honest. I would like to think if I'm looking at these games that, Seattle would be our best shot on here. I think San Diego and LAFC are both going to be high profile, high up on that Western Conference this year, especially LAFC. Yeah. They just look so dangerous right now. But, if we can play this system and we can keep our shape and, like you emphasized earlier, get those points on the road. You easily settle for those draws on the road. So maybe, I don't know if that's going to be anything that like they look at and that type of stuff, but I think you can get a couple points in there. Hopefully, maybe you squeak out that win in Seattle. I don't know. This team could surprise us this year because I think they surprised a lot of us just on that opening day.
I think if you get 4 out of the next 9 points, you're feeling pretty good. Yeah. Any combination of, I think you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Caleb Arthur Shelbourne said, "What are your opinions on not allowing the BLM or trans pride flag?"
I mean, I think it's a ridiculous stance by the MLS to take. That's my thought.
I think the big issue was it wasn't an MLS thing. From my understanding, it was just City as a club. I don't think this was.
But aren't they basing it all on MLS policy that no political signage or flags are supposed to be allowed? I mean, it's absurd, dude. Like it is absurd to not allow that any of that in there. Like it just is. That's my opinion. That it's absurd, and there are so many supporters that support these causes, are part of these communities that have propped this team up, and even if it was something that the MLS was cracking down on the teams for, I would have hoped that this ownership group and this team would have had the guts to stand up and say, this is our park, this is what we believe in, these are our supporters, this is what we're going to allow in our stadium. That's my thoughts. That's what I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah, and I think especially since it's been allowed. I think that's where it's also like, well, what's kind of changed. I think there was an incident last year that a lot of people point to as what has changed things, but
one asshole doing things for clicks is what has changed this whole thing. And where is that asshole now?
I don't know. But
haven't heard from him in a while, have we?
No. Yeah. I think I'll be interested. I think that's going to be something that's going to probably be kept an eye on throughout the years because and shout out to the North End, the supporters stand up thing. I forget what minute it was, but holding up the cards that.
Oh yeah, that was the punks. I think that was the punks that did that.
Because I think it was the punks flag that they were making take down. So shout out. It was a cool thing, and I think it.
And you know what, SGs and anybody in these marginalized communities, even if this team is not going to have your back, just know that your fellow supporters have your back. Yeah, just know that. Like, even though they're not going to show support for you, we're going to show support for you. This pod's going to show support for you. People care about you, whether or not they will, stand up for it in terms of corporate presence or team presence is irrelevant because we're all stronger when we're together, with or without them.
Yep. Stone Trivia, our friend Carmen over at Felix's. Gotta love Felix's and Stone Trivia. Make sure you go check that out Tuesday nights. They said, when will you make another appearance at Stone Trivia? LOL. It is a lot of fun. If you haven't checked out Stone Trivia, I highly suggest it. It's always a lot of fun. Good times. Fun trivia. I think the hardest part I found was just trying to come up with a clever name for our team when we did it the night, and it was fun hosting it as well. So definitely go check that out. Where it's tough for me is we both coach later on Tuesdays, and that's when Stone Trivia it is. I think what it's going to be is if we do make one, we're going to have to plan it out well in advance and then try and hop on one and either get a team in there or maybe be another guest judge and that type of stuff. But yeah, it's a great time. So if you're trivia people, or even not, if you just like to have a good time with friends and answer some fun questions, have great food, great drinks, and just in a great atmosphere with a great host and Carmen and everything that she does for that, please check out Stone Trivia on Tuesday nights. It's a lot of fun. And the last one I have on my end, and just like we thought maybe this guy was gone, he pulls one on us just as much and makes a comeback. Ryan Kadlick is back with another edition of Kadlick's Combat. He says, "Oh, how glorious it is to hear the voice of the..." I didn't read this part. "Oh, how glorious it is to hear the voice
Why are you stopping?
Of the double MCB again. The best in the business, the voice of City Voiceless. I'm back with more battles. Random encounter, 1v8. Participants can use whatever they have on them in battles. Seating was a character by random generator. We're going to just start with characters whose names start with A. So we'll run through these ones real quick. We've got Al Bundy from Married with Children. We've got Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. Alf from Alf. Anna from Frozen. Animal from The Muppets. Agent Carter from What If. And Anger from Inside Out. So first round battle, we've got Al Bundy taking on Anger from Inside Out. I feel like I've only partially seen most of Inside Out when my daughter has watched it, and it just seems like Anger is maybe the guy you don't want to mess with. I'm not as familiar with Married with Children, but I just feel like an emotion, and all emotions, it's anger. I think I'm going Anger on round one. Where are you at with that one?
There are some Married with Children diehards that'll have something to say about Al Bundy and his high school football feats that are very quotable, but I can't remember. It's a little bit before our time. I'll go with Anger. Yeah.
All right. We've got Ash Ketchum from Pokemon taking on Agent Carter from What If. I'm not familiar with What If. Are you?
No idea what that is.
Well, I feel like, Ash Ketchum, and we've had this discussion in the past with battles. If it's anything that he has on him, he's going to have Pokemon and Pokemon Ball.
Yeah.
So, that's definitely got to be an edge as it is already.
Yeah. Agreed.
Here's what I think shouldn't be in first round matchup, because it's the two favorites. I think would be Arya Stark from Game of Thrones taking on Animal from the Muppets. Now, Arya Stark, you're a Game of Thrones guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously she's just a crazy assassin, total badass.
Yeah.
But Animal is just an absolute animal, and he just doesn't care. Plus, he's a drummer, so I feel a little partial towards that.
Okay, Animal versus the Night King. Who wins? The answer is the Night King, and Arya killed the Night King. So Arya
I got you. In our last first round matchup, we've got Alf taking on Anna from Frozen. Now, Anna didn't have any of the powers. It was her sister Elsa.
Oh God.
Now, all Anna had with her was Kristoff, and then I like warm hugs. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? What's the snowman's name? Olaf. Thank you. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. So, she doesn't have a lot to her disposal. I wasn't as familiar with Alf growing up. I know it was wasn't more like a comedy type deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Just pick. Just take a pick.
All right. For my daughter's sake, I'll go with Anna from Frozen.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good call.
She'll be happy with that. All right. So we've got Ash Ketchum taking on Anger from Inside Out.
We'll go with Ash.
Yeah, I think the possible of the Pokemon is there. And then we've got Arya Stark taking on Anna. I think that's just going to be a cartoon bloodbath at that point.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. And then we've got Ash Ketchum taking on Arya Stark in our final. I think it really depends on the Pokemon that he has at his disposal.
This is like the nerdiest battle. It's like the nerdiest final for Cadillac's Combat.
It is.
It's so nerdy.
To be fair, when has any other one? We started out pretty realistic, and then towards the end, he was doing double MCB. What starts with a double M or CB? So we've got.
Well, that's when it got really good.
Yeah, that is why it got really good. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna say Arya before Ash even gets the chance.
Well, she's got to get him. She's got to get him before he summons Charizard or Charmander or one of those mega ones, and I hate myself that I even know what the hell those are, because I did not collect those cards, and I did not play that game, but I know enough stupid pop culture crap.
Don't hate it. We grew up with it. That was our childhood.
It's Arya. Yeah, it's Arya.
We'll go with Arya Stark. So Arya Stark, in the first of the 2026 season Cadillac's Combat Battle, is your champion. And like you said, you kill the Night King, and you learn how to morph faces and do all that stuff that she did.
Still waiting on that Arya spin-off series.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a lot of. Have you checked out the Knights of the Seven Kingdom? Have you been into that?
I just watched the season finale. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too. I did it rather than it was tough. It was like show prep, or I can't have spoilers risking online. So
we'll give it like a week, and if you don't watch it after like a week, and we start talking about it, it's your own fault.
Oh, I've watched it. I'm saying I
mean anybody else, because I could conceivably see where somebody has not watched the season finale yet, but you've only got a week left, and then we're going to start referencing it.
Exactly. So that's all I have mine, and again, super appreciative of all those that I have, but I'll send it your way with Discord.
Yeah,
to finish.
We got a good response from Reddit and a good response from No Goal Patrol on Discord. A lot of the ones there will be repeats, so I'll just read off names because we love our Reddit names. Bearded Booty, Excellent Mine, Uncle Crash, 421292, which ended up being the South State supporter and Great American flexor and member of the 101 posse. Jeff Thornborough just said, "Glad to have you back for another season."
He added another one. Yes,
that's what he does. And then
so glad he's back.
Fresh off of work release, Femni weighed in, which is just special. With what is your favorite dinosaur? What is your favorite dinosaur?
So for me, mine's changed. When I was a kid, I don't know why. For me now, it's probably the Velociraptor. Just speed, not necessarily like the king, but in a pack, deadly. In that team, communication. They're sick. They're just raptors. But for some reason, when I was a kid, I was just drawn, because I was very into dinosaurs when I was a kid. I was just drawn to the Triceratops. I don't know what it was. And then Jurassic Park comes out. I get all excited. And the only scene that it's in is when it's dying. And Jeff Goldblum goes, "That's a big pile of you-know-what." And it was just like, that's all my buddy gets in this movie?
Yeah.
And so, for some reason, I was just drawn to the Triceratops. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the Triceratops. I like a Stegosaurus. Yeah. I think it's T-Rex, though. I mean, like, when you think of, like, dinosaur, the first thought to come to your mind is T-Rex.
It's the one that just keeps... Anyway. It's the one that just keeps going throughout the movies. No matter what, that thing's still there.
I don't understand. And I haven't watched a Jurassic Park film in quite a while, so... Yeah,
I haven't either. I think we had this discussion earlier where we all kind of stopped around 3. I think I saw Jurassic World, but I haven't seen anything past the other ones yet.
Yeah, and now they're like making like hybrid dinosaurs, and it's a whole thing. It's
they
just
took the Fast and Furious route.
They
were
did.
Just trying to steal DVD players, and now they're saving the world.
They did. So over to Discord and the No Goal Patrol, and shout out to their participation and all their kind things they said to us. So let's see. Colton asked what was our favorite part about the game. And then he also asked if we'd tried Max Local Eats, which looks just phenomenal.
I did see that. That burger just give me...
Yeah, and then Amy Murr told us that we need to try their cheese fries. She said it's the menu for Max is best in the summer because some of those ingredients are grown locally.
Ooh, nice.
Jerry weighed in and said Max is the real deal. KVK had one that I think we should roll up on here. He asked if have you not had any of the crispy items at QT, and if so, which is your favorite? Ziaga. I'm gonna go with Ziaya, something like that.
I don't know,
I'm gonna need clarification. I'm gonna need clarification on how to pronounce that name. Weighed in that the Mott Sticks tasted like Mott Sticks. Talked themselves out of pie, but got a slice of pizza, and that was a mistake. KBK said the pie is top notch and easily the best item for him. Waffle fries and tots are also good, especially if you had nacho cheese and chili. I don't know that I've ordered anything from actual QT Kitchen since they started doing that, whether it was sandwiches or anything fresh or anything crispy. I still go off the roller grill at QT unless I'm getting like they have really good tacos. They're like soft tacos. So, no, I have not had the crispy items yet. Might have to make a special trip for that. So, have you had the crispy items yet from QT?
I haven't. And mainly, I guess, the reasoning being is, like, there's not many, like, I have to go out of my way to find a QT at these days where I live. And so, like, it's like, when I drop my daughter off at my mother-in-law's house would be the only chance. But typically, I'm dropping her off to get somewhere, so I don't have that time in there. And then the other ones are out in St. Louis by where I work, and again, it's just more of a time thing. So I just haven't frequented QTs enough to check them out, I guess you could say. But I love me a good QT. And then as far as Colton's question, I think my favorite part of the game and the day was just feeling that atmosphere again. I think especially towards the end of the year when the results weren't there, you started seeing a little bit more sporadic of seats and that type of stuff. It just felt good. And even in the South End, we were all standing again. Like, it just felt good. It felt like old times, and it just felt like
there was a good electricity in the air for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So that was my favorite.
But that's all we've got for South End submissions this week. And thanks again, everybody, for weighing in, and keep them coming, because we will read them, and they are fun, and they are our favorite part of the show.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sending them in, and really thank you so much for, again, all the kind words that you've sent to us, and sticking with us. Like we said, we're going to do our best to be as consistent as we can, and try and be here as much as we can with you guys, because we really do look forward to it each week, and we'll try and keep you guys updated as best we can. And the best way for you guys to be updated and keeping up with us on everything is make sure you're following us on our socials and everywhere that you get South End Supporters or any of that type of stuff. On Instagram, we're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is capital SES_podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube. That way you can keep up with all things South End Supporters and when we'll be around. But we thank you again for being around. We really enjoyed it. And so for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning Center Back, Dave Wyckoff, you've been listening to South End Supporters, and we'll see you sometime.